family. Oh my gosh. Welcome back, you guys. Welcome back to the present. It has been so long since I have sat down, did a video. So welcome back, you guys. I'm so happy to be back, sitting down and doing a Sunday school video with you guys. So I posted in the community tab just a quick poll of what kind of videos you guys would like to see from me as I plan out 2021 and try to be more consistent with my YouTube channel. I think I did pretty good in 2020. What do you guys think? I think I did pretty good. I think I was way more consistent than I have ever been. And so my goal and hope is to ante up that consistency and just keep getting more consistent with my posting. So I did do a poll asking what you guys wanted to see. So if you haven't seen that poll, go over to the community tab and vote, or just simply leave it in the comments down below, whichever is easiest for you guys. But so far, homeschooling is winning. So luckily, today is a Sunday school video because homeschooling is trailblazing the vote right now. So before we get into the Sunday school topic, I do want to ask you guys, what type of things do you want to hear? Do you want to chat about with homeschooling? Kind of let me know in the comments below what are some things that you would like to discuss around homeschooling, because as a homeschooling mom, and I've been doing it for, I don't know, you guys, so long. My daughter just graduated. So for me, sometimes it seems like, you know, this topic is irrelevant. You know how when you've been doing something for so long, you don't necessarily think that other people want to hear about it, or you feel like other people already know about it or whatever. So just let me know, what are some topics that you guys would like to discuss and talk about, or some things you might want to know or see, or whatever the case may be. So leave that in the comments as well, or over on the community tab in the comments section. So anyway, you guys, today's Sunday school topic is going to be about taking breaks. Yes, how do you take a break during homeschooling? What does that look like? What do your breaks consist of? How do you plan them out? Just all things around taking a break while being a homeschooler. So if you're interested in homeschooling or talking about taking a breaks during homeschooling, then stick around for the video.
The snob life, the homeschooling life,
the bar life,
the non-traditional life,
the family life, telling it how it is.
Life outside the box.
And if you don't know what that means,
It's the non-traditional mommy.
baby.
But before we jump into today's topic, if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Tanyelle, and I am the non-traditional mommy. And on this channel, we talk about homeschooling, marriage, parenting, and anything else that pertains to life. So if any of that is of interest of yours, I would love for you to join our family and hit the subscribe button. To the rest of my non-traditional family, you guys are the MVPs, and I love you bunches. Now, let's talk about taking breaks. So we just got off of a break, Christmas break, winter break, whatever kind of break you want to call it. And I know a lot of people kind of struggle with planning breaks or taking breaks. And it's like, what does that look like as a homeschooler? When I first started homeschooling, I tried to follow the public school schedule. So I tried to stay on course with them. When they would take fall break, I would take fall break. When they were out of school, we were out of school. And so I tried to stick to that very strict and strategic calendar. But what I found, is it was virtually impossible as a homeschooler, because you're doing life while schooling. So things happen, things come up. So it was virtually impossible. It was stressing me out. There were times that we would want to do something as a family and almost felt like we couldn't do it because we were supposed to be doing school. And so having that strict schedule, I was kind of like, they might as well be in school if I'm gonna like follow the school schedule. So while it did kind of keep me on track, you know, as far as that goes, it was still restrictive and confining, and I did not like that. And so for me, what I did was I was like, out the door, chuck that out the door. Where I live, we have to do 180 days of school. So 180 days of school, 4 hours a day. So 4 hours a day for 5 days. So that's 20 hours a week. And however you want to do it, however you want to divide it up. And so once I was able to sit with that and realize there's 365 days in the year. So that means I have a whole 185 days that we could take off. That was freeing for me. And then realizing that I only had to do 20 hours in a 7-day period was also freeing for me. Just really letting that sink in. And so now we just make sure that we get 180 days of school in. However that looks. That could be on Saturday and Sundays. That could be during Christmas break for some people. However we need to get our 180 days in is how we get them in. But what that means is we could take breaks whenever our family needs to take a break. And sometimes like going on vacation isn't even a break because we only have to do 4 hours of school a day. So there are times where we could be on vacation, but we're not necessarily out of school. I will count field trip hours as school. I will count going to the science museum as school. Those 4 hours do not have to be 4 hours at a desk, you instructing type thing. It doesn't have to look like that. Keep that in mind, you guys. Like, that is so important, that school does not have to look like what we grew up doing or what we see on TV or what we see out in society. It doesn't have to look like that. So we pretty much take our breaks based around our family. So there's a couple ways you could do that. Before, I would sit down and just plan out the family year. Okay, here's an overview of the year. Here are vacations that we're planning on taking. Here's everybody's birthday, because birthdays, if they fall on a weekday, we're not doing school that day. We're focused on whoever's birthday it is. So I would literally just sit down and kind of plan out our calendar that way, and then filter in our school days. And while that did work as well, I still found that there would be times that me and my husband, especially now that we own a business, would be like, hey, let's go do such and such on a Thursday. And, let's just take the kids and do such and such on a Thursday. And that would like wreck my entire school day, like completely throw it off. I would be like, oh my gosh, now I don't have that day. Now I'm down to 179 days because I planned for this, or whatever the case may be. And so that kind of also became a little stressful for me. So what I now do is I divide our 180 days up. We are always going to do school in the summer. So we do not do a summer vacation or take summers off or anything like that. So you have 90 days of homeschool or of summer school. So I've allocated 80 of those 90 days towards school. And then we have 100 days throughout your typical August through May to do school. Now, what that does for me is that means I know in my head that I have 80 days in the summer that I can make up if we take a lot of time off throughout the school year. However, if we don't take a lot of time off during the school year, then I'm just pumping away from those 80 days. I'm just subtracting away. Does that make sense, you guys? So I've kind of set this little safety net of 80 days in summer up for myself, which then frees up for all the unexpected 80 days throughout the school year. that comes up. You know, oh, let's get in a car and go to Alabama, or oh, we had this to do at the business today, so now we've spent 2 days working and we didn't get any schooling in. So whatever the case may be, I have those 80 days of safety in the summer. So I've just set aside 80 days in the summer that if something happens throughout the school year, I am not stressed out about it because I know I have 80 days to get that schooling done. Does that make sense, you guys? So that is how I schedule my days. Now, breaks. So I am very define a break, you guys, because I feel like as homeschoolers, there's no real true thing as a break. For public school, for traditional school, it is a true break because you're no longer in the building. You are at home. You are not doing anything pertaining to school. I mean, unless your parents are making you do some kind of worksheet or extra work or something like that during your winter break or summer break. But typically they're not. You're traveling, you're doing whatever, you're just hanging out, you're sleeping in. There's no school going on because you've removed yourself from the school environment. Well, as a homeschooler, the school environment is everywhere. It is all around us. And so what that means, it's almost like working from home, right? When you work from home, those of you who work from home or now have been forced to work from home, what you realize is you do more work because you're home. So you find yourself, typically at the office, 5 o'clock, 4:30, 3 o'clock, whatever time, you're closing your computer, you're walking out the door, you're locking it, and you're leaving work at work. But now that you're home, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, you're still answering emails because you're at home and it's like, well, I'm home, I'm sitting here, I'm watching YouTube, I can answer some emails kind of thing. So that's what happens with homeschooling because it is our environment. There's really never like a break. So yes, we do take time where we're not doing any type of schooling, but we're never in a point or a state where there's not learning going on. Does that make sense, you guys? We're always learning. And so what I find is even during our winter break, the kids will come to me and say, can I do some math? And they'll do their math. We're technically on break, but now they're doing school. And so now I can count that as a school day, especially if they're doing, math, and then that turns into let me do some reading, or I need to go in and go deeper into a concept that they're learning for math. And you look up and it's been 4 hours that you're working or doing something with school. And now that's a school day. You see what I'm saying? So getting those 180 days in ends up being a lot easier than you really think. You think, oh my God, my life, I'm just so busy. It's so crazy. But you're incorporating learning and schooling into your everyday life and your everyday routine. You're bringing in concepts all the time. So even when we're cooking or we're going over something, I can bring in a concept that maybe they learned from reading or from spelling, or I can bring in some math that they've been working on, whatever the case may be. A prime example of that is I was giving them out crackers, and I had Charlie, who's my second grader, give out the crackers. And what I did is I just gave her a whole bag of crackers, and I was like, divide these up between you guys. There's 5 of y'all. And she was like, well, how many does everybody get? And I was like, well, I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to figure that out because that's what you're learning in math. You're learning how to do division and dividing and halving and things like that. So you're going to have to figure out how many packs are in the crack and how many crackers are in the pack, and then how much each person should get. So you're going to divide the crackers up between the 5 people. So here I am doing math and kind of reintroducing a concept or introducing a concept or going deeper into a concept and using the terminology that she's heard or will hear in math. And so now we're doing school. That's school. And however long that takes, I can now document that and count that as time of school. And you see what I'm saying, you guys? When you start stressing yourself out about breaks, it's like, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. February blues are real. And so what I would typically do is we would take a ton of breaks in February. I just took it so slow, so easy, gave lots of grace for myself, lots of grace for the kids in February. So I would allocate sometimes 29 days, 28 days of break in just February out of my 185. Like February could eat up a lot of those days because of February blues. And I just felt like we need a break. Like this is where we need our break. Not so much during the Christmas time, but in February, it's almost like you're coming down off of all of the holiday season stuff, all of the madness of that. Then you're trying to pick school back up in January. You're going back to work. You're doing all of this. You're trying to resume some sense of normalcy with life in January. And then in February, you just crash, right? You just crash and burn, and you're just burnt out. So I have found that for us, our breaks really tended to come around February. In the old world, we would always go to Gallenberg in February. And we found that being in Gallenberg, we could take a break. There was no schooling going on. Okay, I lie. See, I lie again because we would go to museums and that would count as school. See, just don't take a break. But really, we really would just divert ourselves and really not do school, not talk about work, not do anything like that. Like that was our time to just relax for a whole week, let the kids hang out, and we would just decompose and regroup ourselves. So that would be what a break would look like for us in February. Along with Jaden's birthday, Jordan's birthday, any other days that we just felt lazy. It's so dreary outside and just, that cozy kind of weather. So whatever we would feel, we would go off of that feeling. With that being said, when you are sitting and thinking about homeschooling and thinking about breaks and thinking about attendance and what that's going to look like and how do we incorporate breaks and holidays and attendance into our schedule, the thing to remember is that you only have to do 180 days. And those 180 days can be broken up however you need to break them out throughout the 365 days. And remember, out of those 180 days, you only have to do 4 hours a day. So you're not required to sit and do 12 hours of school. So you only have to do 4 hours a day for 180 days. And so that allows you to free up so much of your time and to then start thinking about your breaks. That is the key to remember, and thinking about attendance and what attendance is going to look like and how do you incorporate this break, or how do you take that break, or how do you incorporate this holiday, or whatever the case may be. So the way I do it now, current time, present, is when I start a new year, like we've done, is when I'm planning out my year, I literally look at birthdays and then holidays that I know without a doubt we're not going to be doing anything around those holidays. So Christmas, meaning 2 days before Christmas, usually 2 days after Christmas, that time frame. Thanksgiving, usually 2 days before, 2 days after. So the week of Thanksgiving, the week of Christmas, and then birthdays. So when I sit down, and then of course any vacations that we have I know planned, I will go ahead and mark those as days off. So all our birthdays I consider as no school days. And even if they fall on the weekend, you guys, because we will do school on the weekend. So any birthdays I mark as no school days. The week of Thanksgiving, the week of Christmas, I mark as no school days. And then any vacations that we have planned. So right now for 2021, I had everybody's birthday. I have the week of Thanksgiving, I have the week of Christmas, and then we have a vacation planned in August. So I have 2 weeks allocated for that vacation. In August, it's the first 2 weeks of August. So I have that as no school days as well. So I currently have the 12 birthdays plus the 14 for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that puts me at 26. And then the 2 weeks for our vacation, which is another 14 days. So that puts me at 40. So that puts me at 40 days. So 185 subtract 40 leaves me with 145 days. Those 145 days could be sick days. It could be business days where we were working and just life. It can be another vacation that we have planned. It can be just random days, February blues days that we just don't feel like doing anything. It just leaves so much flexibility with those other 145 days. And again, keep in mind, we're going to be on vacation the first 2 weeks of August. So that is typically when school starts back here. So I don't have to feel like, oh man, we're going to miss the first 2 weeks of school, because I can take those 14 days and put them in the summer. You guys following me? So we typically don't start till after Labor Day anyway, but I could take those 14 days and put them into my summer because I have those 80 days. So hopefully that makes sense as far as what that could look like. So to wrap this video up, it's been so long, y'all, that I'm like, oh, out of practice. But to wrap this video up, I hope is that what you take away from this video is that breaks don't have to stress you out. So if something comes up and you're like, holy crap, we haven't done school for a whole week, you don't have to go into a frenzy and be like, we haven't done school for a whole week. Probably if you sit down, you'll realize, oh wait, we did do school that day, because I remember we were doing measurements. I remember we were talking about time. I remember we were talking about whatever. And that was actually learning, which is schooling. There's a video for you. But yeah, so probably did do some schooling. But if you did not, you're like, okay, that was 5 days or 7 days or whatever. It's okay, because I still have 7 days somewhere in these 365 days that I can pick those days back up. With homeschooling, I'm not forced to get my 180 days in between August and May. I'm not forced to get those 180 days in during that time frame. You know, you could just be rogue and knock out your 180 days straight and then just kick it for the rest of the 185 days. There's a challenge for you. There's a challenge. But yeah, you could do it that way. So you're not confined to what your 180 days have to look like, is what I hope you take away from this video. So there you go, you guys. There it is. We talked about breaks and what that could look like with homeschooling. If you have any questions or you want to know anything else about breaks or attendance with homeschooling, feel free to leave those down below. Don't forget to vote, you guys, on the community tab. And don't forget to tell me what type of homeschooling videos you would like to see so that I can do that for you guys. We are almost at 5,000. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. You're the MVPs. If you're still here, get your trophy and join the family. Become an MVP. And to the rest of my family, I love you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.